I'm at Buckden Towers and I'm with Francis Farmer, who's chair of the Friends of Buckden Towers. Hello.
Good morning.
This is quite a remarkable place. Tell me about it.
Okay, so it is wonderful, and where we're standing now, we've got nearly 600 years of worth of buildings. We've got the Great Tower, built in 1480 by Bishop Rotherham, and then his successor, Russell, built the Inner Gatehouse.
So its origins, the actual first records of this place, am I right in saying Doomsday?
Absolutely. In Doomsday, it's noted that the site belongs to the bishops of Lincoln, and they had it until the 19th century.
But we're nowhere near Lincoln, so how come?
Lincoln was one of the largest dioceses. It stretched all the way from Lincoln to Dorchester-on-Thames, and bishops had to have palatial palaces to stay in on their trips around their diocese. You couldn't skip to Dorchester-in-Thames on a day. And some bishops liked it so much that they spent more time here than they did in Lincoln.
I think there was one in particular.
Bishop Barlow, yes. So Bishop Barlow liked Buckden very much, and he became known as the Bishop of Buckden because he spent more time here than he did in Lincoln, and he's buried next door in St Mary's.
We're actually in front of a statue of one of the early bishops.
That's right, Hugh of Lincoln, famous bishop, well known for being a good bishop, considerate to the poor, and who would stand up to the king and told him that he should show more care for his people, not practice nepotism. And, of course, put himself at risk, because if you think of what Henry II did to Thomas à Becket, he was lucky. And he's always shown with his swan, because he's meant to have tamed a swan. And the current church, which was built in 1950s by the Claretian missionaries, is called St Hugh of Lincoln.
Yes, so he was renowned for being kind to animals in general.
Yes, and kind to people.
There was a particularly famous, lodger, should we say, in 1530s?
Yes, that's right. So Catherine of Aragon came here in 1533 and lived here for 10 months. Obviously, she was a prisoner, but not in the sense of she was locked up. And there's famous letters written to the king in Christmas 1534, where the story is told that the Duke of Suffolk came here to move her to Somersham. It's thought perhaps the king thought she might die a bit earlier if she went into the fens. And she said, "No, over my dead body, I'm not leaving Buckden." And she ran up the stairs and locked herself in the tower room. Yeah, so she was a strong woman in here for 10 months. And obviously as a queen, very popular. And the townspeople came out to tell Suffolk that he wasn't going to take her away. They formed a little gathering at the front, and he decided not to take her away at that time.
So this stayed as the bishop's residence for bishops of Lincoln. Yeah. But by the 18th century, it's always needed maintenance.
Well, it's very costly to maintain, and during the time of the dissolution of the monasteries, it was used less, and then it fell into slight ruins with the event of Oliver Cromwell, who rented it out to the Lord Mayor of London, and the place was overhunted and not repaired, and so it was in a pretty poor state. When Marshall bought it, he knocked down the Great Chamber. Yeah. So that's not there now. Yeah.
But what's remaining, the Great
Tower.
Yeah. And
the Inner Gatehouse.
Yes.
That's right.
And
the end of the Inner Gatehouse had come down in Oliver Cromwell's times or thereabouts, which is why it was rebuilt by Edelston.
Yes. So
early 20th century.
Yeah, so we've got this beautiful pattern, and as you say, from the 1480s and 1490s. But then we've got this remarkable building on the end, which looks nothing like the rest of it.
No, that's right. Well, that's Dr. Edelston's construction. He rebuilt it, and he used stone that's not local, that he bought from the north of England, and he also used stone to build a crypt as well.
And there's a dedication on the front of it that gives us a clue to the purpose that he intended for that building.
He was hoping to build a museum to Napoleon III, but that never came to fruition. Edelston started lots of projects that didn't come to fruition, really, here. He spent his summers here, and there are photographs of garden parties and happy times, and there were vegetables here, but his building has never happened.
So he had money and ideas and ambitions, but maybe not delivery.
I quite agree, yes. Obviously, a party man, enjoyed himself.
Yeah. So after Edelston, what happened next?
So Edelston died in early 1950s, and he left Buckden Palace to his sister. It was a single lady, and she didn't know what to do with it. So she gave it to the Roman Catholic Bishop of Northampton, Leo Parker, And he invited the Claretian missionaries to come here. They already were in Hayes in Middlesex, and they took on the place and developed a junior seminary here. So as a school for boys between the ages of 11 and 18 who might become priests. The idea of junior seminaries was abolished by the Vatican Council in the 1960s and the school closed. But they still own the property and they built the church.
So this is still a home for Claretian missionaries.
Yes.
What do they do?
Well, they're a worldwide missionary organisation working in poorer parts of the world, and they came to Victorian Britain, to Hayes. But here they have a conference centre in the Victorian House, so people come for days, religious or not religious, and it's used for local WEA meetings. All sorts of people come here. The Buddhists come to stay, and you can stay in the house, you can stay in apartments in the Inner Gatehouse, you can have a fully catered option, you can hire the tower and stay in there. So they do lots of fundraising to support the upkeep of the premises.
So if you're walking along News Valley Way, would it be possible to stay here?
Yes, it would. You probably need to book that beforehand, though. Yes, and you can get details from the office, and we'll give you a phone number and an email.
But you're not a Claretian missionary. You're from a parallel organisation.
I am, that's right. Yeah. I'm from the Friends of Buckden Towers, and they were set up in the 1970s to support the restoration of the towers. And that's what we do. We fundraise to support restoration. And this year, we've given a substantial amount of money to support the repair of walls, because walls are always an issue. And we've also applied for a grant, and we've created a new disabled toilet, which is available to anybody who comes here, as long as you've got a radar key.
You've also, there's something, well, we're right in the courtyard here, but if we go for a little wander, we can see something else that Friends work on.
Yes, you can indeed. And anybody who comes can just come in and walk around the grounds. And we've got special trees as well.
Should we go and take a look?
Yes, let's.
On the front of these buildings, there's beautiful patterns. What is that?
It's called diapering. The patterns were made because they had to use bricks that were burnt. They couldn't afford to throw them away. So this is the early stage of pattern making in medieval brick buildings. And you can see that at Hampton Court and Tattershall as well.
Yeah. It really is first rate. Well worth having a look.
And it's been copied onto the church.
So onto the modern church. Yeah, that's been built. They've got the same pattern on there.
And although the modern church, we might think, looks out of keeping, I mean, it's connected to the Victorian house and the Great Tower with a cloister. So effort has been made to put it in keeping with the buildings.
Yeah. So what should we go and see now?
Let's have a look at where the moat used to be and some ancient trees we have.
Fantastic.
In front of us, we've got the foundations of the original Great Hall that was built in the 13th century and was subsequently rebuilt. And we think that would have gone further towards the Great Tower at the time. But obviously that's been burnt down, knocked down, etc. And beyond, we've got a beautiful London plane, one of the oldest in England. In fact, there are two on the site, one here and one in the far corner there. And we've got an oak tree from 1603 as well. And then we've got a piece of Dr. Eddleston, who we believe built this wall around here, and that is the path of the moat that used to run round the property. The moat was filled in at the parish church end in the late 18th century because the tower was sinking, and it's all gone, obviously. Work's been constant on the site, so as we look, we've got espaliered lime trees which lead down to the lake, which is where the bishop's original fish ponds were. And there are 40 of those, so they were planted for the Jubilee of Elizabeth II in 1992. 40th Jubilee. And we've got a nuttery and an orchard, as we look down here, and that was also built in the 90s. And all the trees that were used would have been available in England in Tudor times. So they've tried to restore, looking back to Tudor times.
Fantastic. Well, what's next?
What's next? Well, we should perhaps pop into a couple of chapels.
Yeah. I'll follow you.
We're inside the modern church built in the 1950s by the Claretians, dedicated to Hugh of Lincoln. We've got some modern stained glass in here, a window for St Hugh, always recognisable because he's with his swan. And on the other side, we've got Anthony Mary Claret, who was the bishop who founded the Claretian missionaries in Spain in the 1840s.
Oh, right. Yes, he was like was he or Catalonian or Spanish, depending on which way you look at it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he'd been a missionary himself in Cuba, but he'd been called back to Spain because the Queen of Spain at the time wanted him to be her private chaplain. And he didn't think much to this, but it did enable him to travel around Spain with her and to speak to people and preach. And from there, the order developed.
So for people who are not familiar with the Catholic Church, there are some things that are particular to it. And you've got these, are these the Stations of the Cross?
Yes, we do have the Stations of the Cross, and they mark, in Christianity, Christ's passage from when he was tried before Pilate until his death on Good Friday and resurrection on Easter Sunday, and particularly during Lent, which is 40 days before Easter. Prayers are said at each station to remember these events. And behind us, upstairs, we've got Victorian stained glass,
Yes.
and that was given by a convent in Cambridge that was closing, and they depict early scenes in the life of Christ from the Nativity to the presentation in the temple.
Yeah. Well, they're particularly fine, aren't they?
They are. And then downstairs we've got this modern stained glass as well, built by the Claretian missionaries here. And everybody who's here likes to put their mark on. So we've got CMF, Claretian Missionary Fathers, and as we walk round, you'll see we've got bishops and their crests and owners and their marks as well.
It's very attractive.
And certainly where we're going to go next, the stained glass is quite beautiful when it's a sunny day.
Well, let's go and have a look. Well, this is cosy. Where are we?
So this is what is known as the Lady Chapel, and we think this is the original site, approximately, of the chapel that was here during the Middle Ages. And we have a special window that's been created, dedicated to Catherine of Aragon, who was here in 1533 to 1534. And there's Catherine, Queen of England, with her pomegranate symbol above her head, and with Thomas More, one of her patrons. And she was a very well-respected woman and a very strong queen, very much loved by her people. And she's also shown refusing to swear the oath of succession here in May 1534. And she eventually was moved to Kimbolton, where she died in January 1536. But that's a beautiful stained glass window depicting events from her life. And then we have a further modern stained glass window by Paul Quayle, and these depict the mystery of the rosaries, which is a set of prayers within the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I imagine this is exactly the sort of place to be when the sun's out and presumably at the right time of day.
It's perfect at lunchtime. You get lovely rainbow effect on the walls of the colours of the stained glass.
Yeah, absolutely. So we last came across Catherine of Aragon when we were in Buckingham, at Buckingham Old Jail, and she was acting as regent at the time there. So Henry was away in France. He'd invaded, and she was then so she was taking a regent in his place, and the Scots invaded, and she had to make some very quick decisions.
That's right, and Catherine sent her army to fight the Scots, and she was successful in her battle there. So I think we mustn't underestimate that she was regent. So for a woman to be regent showed how much she was respected, intelligent, powerful, and loved.
I think she was pregnant at the time.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she was actually pregnant with a boy at the time.
Sadly,
and she miscarried.
Sadly, we know Catherine had 6 pregnancies, and they did have a son first.
Oh, can I just interrupt this, because we've just seen shafts of light coming through, and it's absolutely beautiful. Sorry.
Absolutely. Really, it is beautiful indeed.
Yeah. Sorry, I completely interrupted. You were talking about Catherine of Aragon. Yeah.
And her pregnancies, yes, poor lady. The pomegranate, her symbol, is a sign of fertility, but she wasn't lucky at all in that department.
No.
So they had a son, lived for 6 weeks, and she had Mary, she had various stillbirths, and obviously then she couldn't have any more children. Yeah. And Henry was looking round to see if he could have a son and heir. I think we underestimate the need and the desire for the king to have a son at that time. The only queen. They'd had Matilda. There was civil war in this country. So, and the Tudors, although we think of them as strong monarchs, were not a well-established dynasty. They'd only taken over in 1485 after the defeat of Richard III at Bosworth Field.
Yeah. So it was just Henry's father that was the first of the line. Yeah.
Absolutely, Henry VII. So it was important that he had a son and heir.
So this chapel, this is used by the Claretian missionaries here.
This has Mass in it every morning at 9:30, and it's a lovely place to be.
And people are welcome to join them?
Of course, anytime, yes. The Claretians also have daily prayers in another chapel we'll visit in the morning and in the evening, and anybody's welcome to join those as well.
Fantastic. Well, where should we go to next?
Let's have a look in another chapel.
Fab. Oh, wow.
So we call this the Undercroft, and this, although it looks very old, isn't. This is something that Thomas Edelston started to create. It was going to be a crypt. It's used for morning and evening prayer, and when we have youth groups come to stay, they're always in here. But anybody can come and sit in and meditate, have quiet time.
Yeah.
I think it has a special feeling.
So we came from through the church into the Ladies' Chapel, and then from there into this crypt. So it's church within a church within a church.
Correct, it is. And when the Claretians first came, there was a stone sarcophagus where the window is now, and that was going to be a burial place for a friend of Edelston's, but he's actually buried in an ordinary cemetery in Hertfordshire.
But again, it's the stained glass that really makes this place.
It is. So this is Paul Quayle, stained glass again, modern stained glass at the sides, and the resurrection window, as it's called, behind.
So we've just come back outside again.
And we're having a look at the Victorian house, which also has some stained glass, which the Friends are currently raising funds to restore. But, as I said earlier, people like to mark their stay or time here. And if we look upstairs, we can see the initials of Arthur Wellington Marshall on the house, and the house was built for him as a wedding present by his father. And there's also some very nice stained glass inside the house and some carving, which reflects the Victorian art and craft movement at the time when the house was built.
Yeah.
The Claretians currently live in the Innergate house because their numbers are small. The house has got 23 bedrooms, not all en suite, but where people come and stay for conferences or family events.
Right. So where are we going to now?
Well, we're going to visit the Knot Garden, which was created in the 1990s. A typical Tudor garden, but it wasn't here in Tudor times because this would have been the path of the moat here. But outside we've got a Wellingtonia planted by Marshall. We had two, but sadly the second one had to be taken down 2 years ago because it was being eaten from the inside.
Well, let's walk in. Let's walk through the wall garden. Right. So there's two volunteers.
4.
Yeah, several volunteers on the way.
Good morning. I'm sorry I haven't been to see you.
Well, this is very nice.
We're in the Knot Garden, as I said, created in the 1990s. A Tudor knot garden, but there wasn't one here at the time because this was the path of the moat. And we're here with Wendy, who's a major part of the volunteer knot gardeners who come every week to maintain it.
So So what are you doing at the moment?
We're looking at finishing off replacing a hedge over in that arbour, and we've got a team of 3 who are going to be looking at the supports at the other arbour and making sure that that's all safe.
So you've got these beautiful box. Describe them to me.
They're knot beds,
Yeah.
so they're a geometrical form, 4 of those.
And they're made of box, are they?
And they're made of box plants, and they are representative of Tudor knots, which would have been in every manor house. We've got 2 pictorial beds. One shows the shield of the city of Lincoln and the shield of the Bishop of Lincoln, because this was, and the other one is Bishop Russell's bed, and that shows his coat of arms, which is shown also on the wall.
So who can visit this garden?
Anybody can visit this garden.
Yeah.
It's open between 9 and 5 every day, and anybody is welcome, though we do hope that people won't bring their dogs into the garden.
Yeah. And something else, this clearly has taken a lot of time and effort, but presumably money as well.
Yes, it's very expensive. I've just been looking at buying more wood for that arbour, and it's going to come to about £150 without even the support, the 2 supports. So, yeah.
So how can we help?
There's an honesty box by the gate, and there's also a QR code that goes straight through to a bank account.
Yeah. So as well as these knot beds, you have some other things growing here.
We do. We have vines and hops, and we also have a dye bed, which has plants in which people would have used to dye their clothes. And we have a medicines bed, because there was no doctor and you'd have used herbs. My favourite one is the one for baldness, because that obviously wasn't a great success. We also have a viewing mount where people could walk up, meet somebody quietly, perhaps a secret treat there. And we have various lovely plants, and all the plants in the garden are those that would have been available in Tudor times. We have a wonderful fig tree behind us as well, and some baby pomegranates.
Ah, so the pomegranates, is that for a reason?
The pomegranates are here because of Catherine of Aragon, and that's her symbol, a great symbol of fertility. They are kept in pots, though, because they can't survive the winter.
So you're growing all these plants. Is there any way for us to buy them?
Yes, every year we have a plant sale, and this year it's on the 16th of May from 10:30 till 3, and we have a wide variety of nurseries who come, and you can come and browse and enjoy buying plants from some specialist nurseries, and you can have a cup of tea and sandwich and cake as well, and that helps us fundraise for the restoration and the upkeep of the buildings and the grounds.
And for all details, just go to your website?
Yes, go to the website. There's a poster on there now, along with a book event we're holding.
You do guided tours?
We do guided tours, and you can book a guided tour at admin@friendsofbuckdentowers.co.uk. And you can book a tour, and you can book yourself tea and delicious cake to go with that tour if you wish, or you can even book a light lunch in the Victorian house.
Currently a tour, is it £5?
Tours are £5 per person this year for private individuals.
Yeah.
And tea and cake is also £5 per person.
Sounds like VIP treatment to me. Okay, well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. It's been lovely chatting to you and sharing our beautiful facilities here and grounds.